My heart goes out to you. I can't even imagine. I'm sure there are a lot of things you're not telling us. I'm sure there are death threats there. Now, Congresswoman Bachmann is in the middle of being targeted by groups that are really pretty scary. I don't know how you, as a family, deal with that every day.
Well, I think for Michelle, without speaking too much for her, she has been clearly a woman of great tenacity. The line that's always given, she has a titanium spine. I
like that.
And if you ever saw Michelle, she's a very short woman, so it's kind of comical. And she truly is a woman who has a core of convictions. The wind doesn't change that for her, or the political votes don't change that. What we are about is a strong family of Christian convictions. And again, with that comes a tremendous honor and respect for the people that we serve. We are servers. We may have differences of opinion, and I say, welcome anytime we can have a discussion and share our differences of opinion. But to do it in this other fashion that's been thrown at us is not only non-productive, but in all honesty, it just makes us stronger people.
Well, can you imagine if Christians would become militant? How long do you think that would be tolerated in our society if Christians were militant?
I think you'd see it on the front pages of most of the newspapers. It would not be tolerated.
We believe in freedom of speech.
Yes.
We believe in the freedom to choose to go to counseling or not. We're not going to be doing those kinds of things, and yet you guys are taking such hits for offering that freedom. So I have to ask you, what do you see in your future?
Well, if you're asking about mine or Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann?
Both of you.
Okay.
Both of you.
I would say that Michelle will take a short vacation, maybe a week or two, at the most a month. And then after that, I don't trust her because she is not finished. She will be actively involved. The call on her life is strong. I think there's tremendous things, whether it is for Israel, whether it is for the values of the American family, pro-life, pro-family, pro-marriage. That's what Michelle and I are about. The first date that I ever took Michelle on was watching the How Shall We Then Live series by Francis Schaeffer. We walked away as college students, and it was like it was a line in the sand. We understood the pro-life cause. And Jill, it has riveted us and convicted us, regardless of what the law says. Life is precious. And we are, from conception to natural death, to be about protecting life. And that goes with a family. It goes with marriage. It is something that, whether it's in our Christian counseling agency or whatever new chapter that Michelle has, the same convictions will carry us through. And it is so exciting because God's word is true. There are times where I will counsel someone who has no spiritual faith, and yet I know that the principles of honor and respecting someone in marriage counseling, it works. God's principle works. And so we have the privilege, the honor to be ministers within whatever setting God has called us to. And that's really, for the listening audience, what has God called each of us to? Understand that. What has God called us to serve? And how can we, in an honoring way, respect God's word and the principles that he has called us to?
Absolutely. It's about freedom of religion, right? We believe what we believe, and we have the right to teach that, the right to talk about it, the right to support it, and the right to defend it. So too often today, that is forgotten, thrown by the wayside. Freedom of religion, freedom of speech, they seem to be dwindling. Every time I turn around, someone is having to fight for those rights. And it's a very sad thing in America today. Well, in summary here, tell us a little bit about counseling care and what you're doing.
Our main focus is counseling in the areas of children, adolescents, and adults, and people who specialize in almost every arena of mental health. And it's important for all people, I believe, everyone's story needs to be heard, needs to be understood. They need to be valued for whatever their story is. But then I also believe that we have a responsibility to promote a game plan, a goal, and setting out. And how are we going to achieve those goals? Whether it's a reduction of depression or dealing with anger, whether it's fighting for a marriage. I so strongly believe that if people understood, there is nothing new under the sun of when someone who's married says, I'm sick and tired of this and I want to give up, or I think I married the wrong person. Those thoughts come to most couples. But having a qualified, experienced, and practical counseling approach will help this couple fight for their marriage. And you see them 6 months or a year down the road, they're a different couple. They're a different person. All of a sudden, they understand that there is hope. And there's a different way of looking at life.
And the thing is that there are so many struggles out there
Yes.
right now. And I think I read something about the suicide rate is sky high here in Minnesota, which I thought was very interesting and has been rising in places across the country. There are kids out there who feel like at the age of 13 that they have nothing to live for.
You know, especially when it comes to the adolescents, that which is considered almost popular today, one of the forms is self-abuse is cutting.
Right.
So many people can't understand that, but the truth about cutting is they are so numb, they don't feel, and actually cutting allows them to feel something, as bizarre as that sounds. And obviously, we need to get to the bottom line of how they came to this place with unhealthy thinking, because the goal that God has intended is purposeful. He has a plan for us. And He is a good God that loves us. And when we understand those kind of principles, when we understand our calling, it is like a world that opens up before people that have been stuck for so long. That's why I am passionate about what an opportunity that we have to walk alongside someone in a very personal way, in a very respectful way, and then to see, just like a remodeling of a home, and you know how messy that gets and sometimes how long it takes. But the end result, it's the beautiful thing.
The thing I love is that you offer hope. Hope is a very big thing when you are going through crisis, because it seems as if there is no hope.
That's right.
During that time. So I love that there is a place that they can go, counseling care, where there is hope offered, kindness, and that strength that is rooted in biblical principles.